Today is Gaudete Sunday, joyful Sunday, and what brings us this joy is hope. But it's not the kind of hope that we always think of. Just in conversation, we use the word hope in a lot of different contexts, but it's not what the church is asking us to focus on this Sunday. What are you doing for Christmas? Oh, I hope to be with my family and friends, but you never know, right? What do you want for Christmas? Oh, I hope I get a BB gun. And so, what's for breakfast? Well, I hope there's enough for everybody. That's not what we're talking about here. It's not just of course, it's an analogy. It's something that you're looking forward to. But that context of hope is usually something that we can accomplish as human beings. We can accomplish that. Do you want to get into college? Oh, yeah, I hope to go to Harvard. Well, you have to study very hard or have a parent who's going to leave them a huge donation. Well, anyway, don't try that one anyway. I think that path is. But you know what I mean? Oh, well, I have hope that I can. Oh, okay, well, work hard. Not this. The kind of hope that we're speaking of today is something that we cannot accomplish. Right? The hope that we're holding on to for today and Gaudete Sunday, our joyful Sunday, the Sunday, where we are reminded of our great joy, is not something that we can accomplish. The joy that we hope for Christmas, no amount of eggnog or carols at the spinet, the piano, no amount of presents, things that we wanted more than anything in the world, or family and friends, and on and on and on, roast beef or whatever your favorite meal. There is no amount of stuff that can satisfy the hope that we have. Or do we have that hope? And I think that's the great challenge to Christians, is that we have substituted our great hope with all these other things, as if God would leave us bereft, as if God would not answer our prayers. We've said, well, if I can't have this, well, then I'll just have a bunch of this. As if it were substituting in a recipe. If you don't have blueberries, just try raisins. I'm not sure any recipe would do that, but right? Yeah. Try it when you go home. Let's see. But we do that, right? Well, I don't think, this is something that I can't accomplish, and so this is something that I have hopes for, but so I'm just going to substitute this. Unfortunately, it happens to us all the time. I don't have real trust in God, so I'm going to substitute my own little machinations to control a certain situation. Or I'm just not going to enter into that situation at all. Because I don't actually trust God. I don't actually hope in God. And so I'm going to do all of these other things. The challenge of Gaudete Sunday is to recognize that our hope comes from God. God is the source of hope for us. God is, in fact, the only source of hope for us. And in order to have hope, we have to have a relationship with God. You're hearing me. In order to have real hope, you have to have a relationship with God. Why? Because hope is of God. Remember the three theological virtues that come to us with grace. They are God's life given to us: faith, hope, and love. God sharing Himself with us in this world brings us faith, hope, and love. We cannot have hope if we don't have a relationship with God. All hope comes from God. Without God, there is no real hope. And that's why the world can crush us. And that's what happens to us very often, is that we have this hope. We call it hope. I have this hope of this, and then the world comes and takes it away or crushes it. It's a favorite ploy of the devil to build up our expectation, to make us these promises, and then before we can enjoy it, whatever it is that we've given ourselves over to, he takes it away and laughs. What, do you think I'm going to fulfill my promises? Right? Real hope is of God. And in order to have hope, we have to have a relationship with God. If you want to experience real joy, well then let God build that hope, that expectation within you. You can't do it yourself. You have to place yourself in God's hands. Very often the desperate circumstances of our life lead us to hope. When all else has failed, then God very often will invite us to hope. Because unfortunately, from our perspective, until that, we put our hope in all these other things. I'm going to put my hope in my abilities or your abilities or whatever it might be, right? No, our hope is only in God. You think of somebody who has a very serious disease, and the doctors say, well, the treatments may work. There's only a 15-20% chance that they'll work. What do? We sort of look at that 15%. We can't make it any bigger, but we try to. In our minds, in our hearts, right? We say, well, that could be me. That could be me. There's some hope. There's some hope. There's always hope if it's placed in God. The problem is that we limit ourselves to what people can promise or what the world can promise for us. There is always hope in God. And if we learn to trust in God, we would see that God always accomplishes His will. And always is doing something perfectly beautiful for us. Our hope in God is never misplaced. He always accomplishes what He wishes to accomplish. In this case, for us, what does God hope to accomplish for us is salvation. We were desperate. There was no way that we could be reconciled to our Heavenly Father. There was no way for us to receive the blessings and the life and the love of God. But God kept holding out to us this promise. He said, I will do this. Do you believe? And down through the ages, the patriarchs and prophets would hold out this hope to us and say, do you believe? And we would look at all the things that we hope to accomplish. Oh, we were thrown out of paradise, but we can create a paradise here on earth. And so many people long before us, in all kinds of different ways, tried to create the paradise. And what they created was a hell on earth. And still we continue to try that. Apart from God, God is not our hope. We have hope in technology and medicine and our own advances in science and on and on and on, right? Nonsense. There is no hope for us there. There is only destruction. There is only sadness. But in God, then He comes among us. See, now our great hope dawns within us. God coming to be among His people. Not to condemn us, but to save us. And now we begin to understand where all our hope lies. Our hope lies in Him. That God wishes to be with us. Well, let us hope to be with God. Right? So the hope and joy of this Sunday is that God will come to live within us and stir up that desire within us for God, so that we might have a profound relationship with God, that He might become all our hope. As we come here to worship today, we recognize what God is doing with us. He is showing us in word and sacrament our salvation. Lord, as we are witness to your great miracles, let us put all our trust and hope in you.